Yo, top billing to ya, Dog Nation. In addition to subscribing to this channel, join me at www.patreon.com/committedtotheg for exclusive film studies, recruiting chatter, and a sick-ass weekly podcast dedicated to your future natty winners, the Georgia Bulldogs. Only $5 a month lets you leave them sissies and nerds behind and join your boy on this movement. Let's go.
Top billing.
Top billing to ya. All right, Dog Nation, you know what's coming up here in a couple of weeks, but first order of business, you got to take care of Georgia Tech, bringing in that flex bone option. Very punishing attack, number one rushing offense in the entire country. So you boys got to be on the P's and Q's. A lot of these guys are young, haven't played against an attack like this. But, man, you got to take what you saw from the Clemson game against Georgia Tech. I believe Clemson is the number one defense in the entire country. I wholeheartedly believe that its front seven is absolutely bananas, and that's what it takes to stop a rushing attack like this. So I would like to see Georgia definitely replicate that. But look at what it did to them, man. Only 146 yards rushing. 146-yard rushing, a 2.6 average on 56 attempts. Look at Taquan Marshall, 25 carries, the quarterback, 1.9 yards per. Tobias Oliver, the other quarterback, 3.8 per. Jordan Mason had a nice run, but other than that, man, everything else was done. Even Jerry Howard and Clinton Lynch, guys who can hit the outside. So you want to take from this, and you want to definitely replicate this moving into December 1st. I like this type of a matchup because it's going to be extremely physical, and it prepares your eyes for eye discipline. But let's see how Clemson got it done. All right, first of all, if you're looking for some type of highlights or something, that's not top billing sports. It's not what I do here. So please go elsewhere, because this will be paused and rewound ad nauseum, and I'm not showing full plays here because it's not what I do. So if you want highlights, go actually watch the game. Other than that, just follow along here, and we're going to do these concepts. So look at how Clemson chose to deploy its defensive front. Got Dexter Lawrence here at a zero technique. You have Clelin Ferrell, your normal 6 technique here. He's still kind of lined up at a 6 technique, but if you look at the spacing of Georgia Tech's offensive line, crazy spacing, right? Crazy spacing. He was almost technically lined up like at a 3 technique, but you would still consider this kind of more of like a 5 or 6 technique. And this is a normal 4-3 team. They run a lot of 4-3 under type stuff, a lot of fire zone blitzes, definitely a lot of different stuff. But they were able to switch their pitch for this particular one. Got the defensive tackle Christian Bryant out here lined up just like Clelin Ferrell. It's almost like a 3-4 look. Strong side linebacker Isaiah Simmons out here past the 9s. And another defensive end, Austin Bryant, who can stand up and rush as well. 2-point stance guy past the 9. So you want to force and replace. Force and replace. You don't learn anything else right here. Force and replace and be gap sound. All right, right here, make sure you pay attention to the inside linebackers here. Off the ball linebackers, more like it, because they are uncovered. So meaning this particular lineman right here could climb up to him, and this particular lineman can climb up to him right there, which would be J.D. Davis and Trey Lamar right here. And Lamar being probably the best linebacker in the country. But check out how they play this out. It's a 3-man game right here. This is your normal option pitch. All right, and make sure you check out Clelin Ferrell right here shooting the gap. Isaiah Simmons has right here Clelin Ferrell shooting the gap. Isaiah Simmons has the pitch man, meaning the quarterback, and then your man Trey Lamar is going to come and loop around here and get whoever receives the ball, the pitchee, or however you want to determine that right there. All right, as we let it go right here. Stay on your feet. That's what you got to remember. You see this right here? Nothing but cut blocks. Nothing but cut blocks. Everybody's going down. They just want to muddy the waters. This dude wasn't even touched, and he's just falling to the ground trying to muddy the waters. But Clelin Ferrell originally has the dive play right here. And if he can't get to this gap, he wants to man his gap. But then J.D. Davis would be the backside guy coming through right here to take on this block. But you see right there, they both do a good job of staying on their feet. So the next part of this here is two-man game right here between Isaiah Simmons, the quarterback, and then Trey Lamar, who would get the running back right here, the B-back, who will get the ball pitched to him. He forces him to pitch the ball. Then you got to be able to break down and tackle in space. It's the best linebacker in the country, in my opinion, other than Devin White. Not a good pitch, but he pays for it, pays the price. Sick. All right, I like how Clemson plays this right here. I think Georgia's one of the rare teams that can kind of match personnel to a Clemson. Georgia's got a lot of depth on the defensive front, and I don't think people out there understand that because most people actually don't watch teams that are not their teams. But if you're watching Georgia and you understand about personnel and you follow the college recruiting scene, you would know that Georgia could line up some really good players against a set like this against Georgia Tech. So right here, I could see this being a DeAndre Walker. I could see this right here being a Devontae Wyatt, who's been coming on extremely strong. You can see this right here being Jordan Davis, who I think is the future of the team, a big anchor. I love me some Jordan Davis, man. I think he's going to blow up a lot of stuff that Georgia Tech does. Right here we will have Jonathan Ledbetter, who should be an absolute animal. Or you can reverse this back right here, and this could be, instead of Devontae Wyatt, it could be Tyler Clark, who's looking like coming into the year might be the best player. So that's what I'm talking about, quality depth. And they could play a couple of different people right here. I think against Georgia Tech, you got to have some athleticism, but you got to have some size and some guys that can stay on their feet. I would actually like to see this be Malik Herring right here. He's a guy who can play both the 5 technique, and you could probably moonlight him at a strong side, outside linebacker spot as well. But if not that, man, just a regular run-of-the-mill rotation that just happens to feature a whole bunch of 5 stars like Robert Beal, Brenton Cox, you know what I mean? And people like that. Maybe an Adam Anderson, rotate in personnel. Georgia can do that. Back here, off-ball linebacker, Monty Rice is hurt, so it's got to be Tate Crowder here, Jawan Taylor, and, of course, Natrez Patrick, who's had good games before in the past against Georgia Tech. But check this out. Quick pressure is the name of the game, and you got to get that from your 3 technique. All right, same thing right here. You got to stay parallel to the line of scrimmage with Georgia Tech, man. You can't be getting skinny or anything like that. Your first step needs to be pretty much like 2-gapping. So if you see them right there, they're all 2-gapping. You see the weak side edge player there, Austin Bryant, running there. But look at the quick pressure about a 3 technique right there, Christian Wilkins. Same thing right there. I want you to look at Cleveland Farrell right here. This is the best thing that you can do. You should see a lot of this from Georgia. 2-gapping. You want to stand and bench press those guys, bench press the offensive lineman, and look to the gap to either side there. Same thing right here. Big Dexter Lawrence. Gap to either side. Quick pressure gets him. All right, here's what you can't do. You can't have momentary lapses in judgment. So remember I told you about the triangle there. You always got your middle man right here. Then you feed it from right here. You triangulate. These 3 players get play side, and these 3 players, depending on which it goes, if it goes play side, left or right or whatever like that, but you have your 3 players to get that triple option there. So this time it's going to the right side of Georgia Tech's offensive line. And same thing, same rules apply, but you don't want to have a momentary lapse in judgment. Check it out. All right, we get going right here. 2 men tie up Christian Wilkins. So this is perfect right here. It leaves exactly what you wanted right there. 2 men taking on him. So that means right here, Austin Bryant, he's going to become your play side edge player. He's going to get the pitch man. Then you have J.D. Davis coming on right here, getting the pitchy, right? However, check this out right here. So Bryant forces the pitch. He forces the pitch right here. But look at J.D. Davis. You can't be looking at someone else's assignment. This is assignment football. J.D. Davis right now is looking at the quarterback when his only thought should be on his assignment, which is the running back. He hesitates for just a moment. If it could have been a better pitch, it probably would have got an even better gain, but it allows really athletic running backs to get out in space and move the chains. So don't disrespect Tech. You know what I'm saying? A-Town for life. These boys have some really good offensive players, and that's what they do. So assignment football, and you don't want to be gashed. All right, let's look at it from the inside linebacker's perspective. We got Big Trey Lamar right here. His job is to have controlled aggression. So right now his assignment is on nothing but the quarterback. because he's going to be the inside force player, right? So he needs to make the quarterback make a decision right here. So there's no pitch man. Looking like they're out of phase right there on their pitch. Trey Lamar is in perfect position, and he's such a great tackler, man. I remember at one point in particular time, I thought Nate Patrick was a player just like this, man. And he's a form tackler. You see that? I'm tired of these guys just hitting and not wrapping up. This guy wraps up every single time, man. He wraps you up like a calf or something like that, like he's at a rodeo or something like that, man. So definitely got to make sure you're on your P's and Q's and make sure you're on your technique game as well. All right, last aspect right here, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Patreon.com/committed to the G. You can get definitely in-depth studies like this, podcast, recruiting, news, breaking news, everything you could think of, man. But got to have those edge players, meaning those cornerbacks. You got to have those guys willing to tackle. So I really love that aspect of a Tyson Campbell, and I love it in Eric Stokes as well. And we know DeAndre Baker can tackle. So the actual corner. So it shouldn't be too many nickel players in this game. No Tyreek McGee's and guys like that. So I think if something coming like this to Eric Stokes, he's going to wrap up and tackle, just like A.J. Terrell right there, who, I think the Dawgs let slip away right there is one of the better players in the country. I think he's going to develop into. But Georgia, it has it on lock as well. So it's a win-win situation there. But Eric Stokes, I think the ball coming to him like that, man, you got to be able to not have edge breaches, and your cornerbacks have to get heavily involved and be short tacklers. So I think Georgia has all that it takes to replicate a performance like Clemson has done to Georgia Tech this year. But, man, ain't nothing to it but to do it. I can sit here and say this and that, but if you're out of your gaps, you're manning another man's gap. You're not practicing gapstinence. I mean, stealing my lines. I'm telling you, people, don't be stealing my. Oh boy. And you know what I'm saying? You're not forcing and spilling and doing everything that it takes. You can't be gashed by these boys. And we've seen Georgia had trouble with the run in past games, but I think all equal, everybody healthy for the most part. And Georgia shouldn't have too much of a problem with that. But definitely a fun scheme to scheme against. I like the Georgia Tech scheme. I love running backs. It's a running back-centric channel here as well. But Georgia should be all right. But thanks to everybody who watched to the end right here, giving you some in-depth stuff on Thanksgiving. Real men watch to the end. So holla at your boy. Patreon.com/committed to the G. And we can talk about it further. Podcast on it as well. All right. Until next time, peace.
What more can I say?
Top billing.